Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're doing our first video from a new series titled Reflect and Understand from the Quran, where we will select certain verses and explore the deeper meanings applicable to our lives. Today's topic is interaction in the Quran and faith. Let's get started. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. The Quran is interactive in the sense that the Quran responds and reacts to what is in your heart. Have you taken a computer-based test, such as the SAT exam? The questions get tougher if you get the problems right and easier if you get it wrong. The point is the exam is interacting and adjusting to you. Now, this does not mean that reading the Quran will get harder or easier for you. But the point is that it interacts with you. You will get what you're seeking for. Do you want guidance? Quran will guide your heart if that's what you want. Are you reading the Quran with doubt or to find contradictions? If so, that's what you'll find. Basically, you get what you're seeking for yourself. Let's examine some verses now to understand this point. Look at the two-way responses here in these verses. Not whole verses will be shown in these presentations. In example 1, look at what's happening first. There are those who begin with disbelief and denial of the hereafter. Because of their denial, the interaction they receive is an invisible veil or covering, due to which they are not affected by the Quran, although they are hearing the same speech of Allah. Basically, the Quran is not speaking to them because the invisible veil covers their understanding. In example 2, the verse is speaking about those disbelievers who used to say, "This Quran is tales of the ancients." And they were so adamant in their position that they had made up their mind that they would not believe regardless of whatever sign was shown to them. Due to the finality of their position and mockery of Allah's verses, the response is, there are heart coverings and metaphoric deafness, because their hearts have already made that final choice of disbelief. And from other verses, we learn that eyes also have metaphoric blindness in not being able to see Allah's signs within themselves and in the creation around. So all the faculties, including the heart, are sort of numbed. Another example to illustrate this point is, say you have a pre-existing health condition for which you are taking medication. Now, if you drink cranberry juice, the effects could either be blocked or boosted. So if your heart was in a pre-existing condition, it will increase you in that condition. But for a healthy heart, the juice is very beneficial. So in the first verse shown here, the same interactive ideas apply to belief and disbelief. The hypocrites would make mockery by asking each other sarcastically if their faith had increased by the Quranic verses. The verses did increase the faith of the believers, but for the hypocrites, it only got deeper and deeper immersed in evil and disbelief. So the already diseased heart of hypocrisy only sunk further in evil. In the first verse, when believers recite the Quran, they receive healing and mercy. But for those already in wrongdoing, Quran responded with increasing their state of loss. Now observe interaction in the second verse. The hearts already had the disease of lying, doubt, and hypocrisy, but Allah interacts by increasing them in their current condition. The hypocrites had the two characteristics: to habitually lie and deny the unseen. So between these verses, we also see a contrast of healing and mercy with disease and loss. Now let's look at guidance or misguidance. In the first verse, for believers who hold fast to Allah, By worshiping Him and relying on Him, Allah responds with mercy and guidance. They are on the straight path that leads to the gardens of paradise. The second verse is speaking about the person who takes his own desire as his God. He abides by his desire, and whatever his desire portrays as good, he does it. This means fulfilling every desire of your nafs or your soul while ignoring Allah's prohibitions. In Western culture, they call this instant gratification of desire. Allah leads this person astray after knowledge had reached him and the proof was established before him. Now his faculties are sealed. May Allah protect us from such misguidance. Look at the order of the words in the first verse. The positive words are mentioned first. They were given the positive guidance and forgiveness, but they chose to exchange it for the negative, error and punishment. Note, as stated in the second verse, that Allah did send a messenger to every nation. Allah did not decree or decide that certain people will choose the wrong path, but He knew it from His divine knowledge that they would choose this path. That is what is meant by among them were some who deserved to be left astray, or error became established against them. So we must recite the Quran with certainty, yaqeen, that Allah will guide us. Now the next few slides cover some conditions about the heart. Please watch my other video on the details about the heart in the Quran. But here in this video, we explore the interactions of the heart. In example 1 verse, if you seek guidance, Allah will expand the breast, meaning it makes it easy for the heart to make the choice of submitting to faith or iman. Misguidance at a general level is described as constriction or tightness of the breast, what you feel when you go up in heights. In the first verse, believers respond to Allah with softening and piety of their hearts and reliance upon Allah. And Quran responds with increasing them in faith when the verses are recited. That is real tranquility and peace of mind. Again, as we said earlier, hearts which are only interested in illusions of this worldly life and fulfilling every desire, regardless of Allah's prohibitions, are only increased in their heedlessness and desires. Their affair will be neglected by Allah, and they will continue in their pursuit of worldly desires without remembering Allah. It is like a state of coma from which one needs to wake up before it's too late. It takes practice to have a humble heart. There is so much tranquility that comes to the heart in being a slave to Allah instead of being a slave to one's desires. Can we submit our heart to Allah completely without any questions because He is our Creator? In verse 2, Allah refers to the broken pledges and promises by the people of the book, due to which they were expelled from guidance and their hearts became hardened and more blocked from understanding. The people of the book, they would alter words from His book and change its apparent meanings. They attributed to Allah what He did not say, and we seek protection with Allah from such behavior. In the first verse shown, Allah did not intend to purify the hearts of the hypocrites, who claimed faith, but their hearts did not believe. This verse contrasts with the next verse, where we understand that Allah requires some tests and trials of the believer before purification of his heart. In the first example, the hearts of those who disbelieve in the hereafter will incline towards the illusions of this world. In the second example, we see a verse that shows the positive inclinations of the heart. In this verse, Ibrahim alayhi salam made a dua or supplication that the people should have a positive inclination towards his wife and child. And this positive inclination continues among people till today when we perform the Hajj. So, what are some solutions to keep us on the right track of positive interactions from Allah? Dua is a powerful tool of getting interactive response. But sometimes we have to understand why we may not see the immediate results of our dua, although we know that certainly Allah responds. Let's give an example here to illustrate. So you make a dua to guide you and also to give you abundance of wealth in this world. There's nothing wrong to ask for wealth. Now Allah will guide your heart, but perhaps He gives you moderate wealth and not excessive wealth. The reason may be because in His divine wisdom, He knew that your heart was not firm like Sulaiman alayhi salam, whose extreme wealth did not stop him from being a grateful servant of Allah, and for him to incline to Allah even more. Perhaps you would have inclined more towards enjoying your wealth and be less inclined towards your goals of acquiring guidance. So Allah responds and interacts to your dua in how He chooses is best for you. Some more solutions so we are on the right track of receiving positive interaction. When reciting the Quran, the first verse says to first seek refuge in Allah from shaitan so we don't fall into any traps. And this verse continues to teach us the skill of relying on Allah, tawakkul. So we do our best and then relax because we left the matter to Allah. Let's remind ourselves of tawakkul with the story of Hajar when she was left alone with a baby and no source of provision. She did her best to seek help instead of just waiting in one spot. She kept her thoughts positive about Allah while relying upon Him. She had taqwa, which is Allah consciousness, and patience, sabr, when Ibrahim alayhi salam left her with a child alone in the middle of no existing civilization. This should be our approach to get through a test from Allah and receive positive interaction. Let's grasp the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. This verse shows some more solutions to receive positive interaction. The good word of a believer refers to testifying that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah. A good tree refers to the believer whose root is firmly fixed, indicating that Tawheed or the oneness of Allah is firm in the believer's heart. Its branches reach to the sky, meaning the branches with which the believer's works are ascending to heaven. We have reached the conclusion of today's topic. If this video benefited you, please do like and subscribe. Subhanaka wa bihamdika la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.